Hello everyone, this is Ninja Girl, Sakura1 here, back with another Yashahime Princess Half Demon review. This past weekend we got Season 2, Episode 8, Nanahoshi's Mini Galaxy. Good episode, although a lot was happening at once. Admittedly, it kinda jumped all over the place, but it was still quite a good episode. And yeah, I guess we can expect some episodes for a little bit to be like this, with the girls each on their own little adventure. So, yeah. But to go over this and review it, I think the best thing to do would be to go over each girl's thing that they were dealing with separately. So I'll start with Moroha, then Setsuna, and we'll finish off with Towa. So yeah. So, let's get started. Before we get into the girls though, I should actually mention Zero, who appears at the start of this episode, so. She is in a boat, and she sails to this demon's little house, I guess, his lair. And this is Nanahoshi. She's in disguise, the same disguise that she first met Towa in. And yeah, we learn that Nanahoshi will read people's dreams, grant their wishes, whatever, in exchange for the sorrow and grief and, yeah, sadness in their hearts. However, he's shocked when he finds out that Zero doesn't have any of that, because we know she gave up those emotions when she made the wish on the Shikon Jewel. So yeah. And after he seems to be completely shocked by this, he gets literally shocked when Zero uses the rainbow pearls to literally shock him. And she says she's going to be setting a trap. So, uh-oh. We haven't seen the results of this trap yet, but I'm sure we will very soon. But nonetheless, that's what Zero was up to. I'm very curious to see how all that's gonna play out in the end. But yeah. Now we can go over the girls. So, Moroha. As we know from the last episode, she was trying to help Takuchiyo and Hachi reclaim their land, because Takuchiyo used to be the lord of that land. He was kind of driven out, so Moroha was hired to help him, right? And they tried breaking in. Moroha got herself captured because she got a little too cocky, much like her father would have, and yeah. So we do see her being taken down to the dungeons by the Tanuki demons, and yeah, she tries to blow it off like she was innocent, you know? But they already tell her, look, we know that you're working for Takuchiyo, don't even try to hide it. You're our prisoner. And they lock her in and walk away. But Moroha is very clever. And luckily, she had hidden this Sasami knife in her bow. It looks like it's in her hair, but I think she hid it in her bow. And yeah, since she knows there's not really a point in hiding the fact that she was working with Takuchiyo, she just uses that to crack the lock and break out. So, atta girl, Moroha. Yeah, so she tries her best to sneak through. She goes up into the rafters, and she does start to hear some of the Tanuki demons talking. So she decides, again, using this Sasami knife, that she's gonna listen in. She uses the corkscrew attachment to drill a hole, so she can take a peek and see and hear what's going on a little better. And we see another little Tanuki demon that looks exactly like Takuchiyo. And that is apparently his younger brother. And he actually seems quite nice, and he's sad that Takuchiyo's not around. But his advisor, a very big Tanuki demon, who I think he's the real evil here. I don't think it's Takuchiyo's brother at all, because he really does seem nice. I think it's this guy. So, yeah. His advisor comes up to him instantly after he mentions Takuchiyo and that he misses him. And he says, "Young lord, you are not to speak of him again. You know, he's a disgrace. He disgraced our clan. You are the lord now. Do not mention him again." And Takuchiyo's brother is like, "Yeah, right, okay." So, yeah, I think it's safe to say this advisor, that's what I'm gonna call him, is the real evil here. And we also see this tapestry with glowing red eyes. It's creepy. But anyway, yeah. And then we hear the advisor talk about Kagome and her spiritual power, and yeah, how Inuyasha also was the one who scarred his face, and they want revenge, and that they want to destroy and kill Moroha. So, yeah. And even Moroha comments like, wow, they really don't like me, do they? So, oh dang. Poor Moroha. And that is when we see other Tanuki demons come in and tell the advisor and Takuchiyo's little brother that Moroha had indeed escaped. They didn't notice for a bit, but now they did. So Moroha decides she better hightail it and get moving to get out. And she almost gets out fine, but she is cornered by the advisor Tanuki demon, who really does not want to let her escape, naturally. And he decides he's gonna, with some kind of power he has, create this giant Tanuki demon to fight and destroy her. So yeah. And this forces Moroha, even though she fights pretty well at first, she decides it's time to take out a Rouge, which she had to taken it out for a long time. Not since the season 1 finale, so yeah. But Takuchiyo then appears and says not to use it because if she does, she'll be unconscious for a day, and that's bad. They can't let that happen because then there's no way they can fix this whole mess. But Moroha says, I'm not going to let that happen. Get ready for the new and improved Inuyasha. So, she sticks her finger in the Rouge, puts it on her lips, says her iconic speech, which I love. Let's see if I can remember it. With this Rouge, I become Inuyasha, destroyer of lands. Bear witness to your death in the bloodthirsty dawn if you so dare. Something like that. I probably said it wrong. But I love that speech so much. It's great. And she goes in for a fight. And she actually does very well. Despite this being a giant version of a Tanuki demon. It's pretty big. I think the advisor guy made it with the tapestry somehow. Not sure exactly. It seemed that way. I'd have to maybe look at it more closely. So, yeah. But nonetheless, Moroha does pretty good. And finally, we haven't seen her use this move since, what? When she fought Yawaragi? Back in season 1, I don't think she even used it. We finally do see her use the Crimson Backlash Wave. Finally. And that's enough to push this giant thing back and give them a chance to run. So, way to go, Moroha. Although, of course, she's still being kind of chased, but it gives them a chance to try and at least run away. And, you know, come back to fight another day. So, good for Moroha. She fought very well. And I think, of course, naturally, her father would be very proud. So, she is best girl. I'm sorry. Always will be. So yeah, that's what happened with Moroha. Now let's go over what went down with Setsuna. So, like we know from before, in the last episode, she, Kohaku, and Hisui were going north to help out a village that they had been hired by with a problem of their own. So she was leaving Towa behind, but before she left, Towa gave her her hand cream. And we see her putting it on. She's got Kilala. And yeah. And Hisui's there too. He's like, what is that? And she explains, oh, it's hand cream Towa gave me. And it smells like lavender. It's actually really nice. And it helps when your hands get dry from cold weather. So, very sweet. It was a nice little gesture from Towa. And we see that Setsuna sees this little spirit, which I believe is named Akaru. And it ties into the Windmill of Time thing, which I believe that is still at Sesshomaru's mother's place, from what I recall in season 1. And somehow Akaru is required for it, and that will tie into everything with Kiramatu somehow. We'll see eventually, I'm sure, but yeah. Nonetheless, Setsuna is able to see him. And nobody else can. Only her. She's like, huh, what was that about? But yeah. They then make their way to the village in the north. they're freezing, of course, because it's snowing. It's beautiful, of course, but it's also very cold. They work with it, though. And Kohaku meets up with some of the northern demon slayers that were already there. And he apparently had known them. And they're actually very surprised to see Setsuna there. Because they haven't seen a female demon slayer since Lady Sango. Of course, Sango's mentioned. But both Kohaku and Setsuna vouch for themselves, or yeah. And Kohaku's like, she can handle herself. She's actually one of the most skilled demon slayers since my sister. So, yeah. And when they still doubt her, Setsuna's like, you know what? If you want to challenge me and see what I'm capable of, go ahead. Let's take it outside. I can take you easily. But they end up backing off. So, yeah. And then they find out why they are there. There are apparently these flame bulls. These flaming bull demons that have been attacking this village. And destroying it. Trying to burn it down relentlessly. And they're apparently being controlled by a deity? I think that's what they said. Who is not pleased with them, the people of the village. So yeah, and we also hear about these grains that they have. That's why their land is so prosperous, and why they were able to hire Kohaku and his team in the first place. But yeah, it's not good. But Setsuna is actually able to handle these flaming bull demons easier than the rest of the Demon Slayer team, and that really allows her to prove herself to everyone. Not that she needed to, but yeah. So, go Setsuna. And the other Demon Slayers actually do comment that Kohaku had raised a very fine Demon Slayer indeed. But Kohaku's like, well, yeah, but she still has some growing to do. Not meaning her skill, but emotionally, because she is still a little bit closed off. She's trying to be more open, but you know. Setsuna still has some emotional growing to do. But skill-wise, she's very strong. So, yeah. Yeah. Very nice. And when they then talk with the elders, there was also a monk who was starting up a blizzard to try and keep the bull demons at bay, but yeah. They then get the whole story about the deity and how they must not be pleased with them. They might be after the grains, and yeah. So, the team resolves that what they need to do is obviously find the one controlling them and try to reason with them and try to stop them, kill them if they have to. Yeah. And that's where Setsuna's story kind of leaves off. Now we get to Towa. So, Towa's stuff starts at the very beginning, of course, after the whole scene with Zero. But, yeah. We see her also fiddling with her hand cream. And then, she also sees Akaru. And he's actually very cute. He seems to like the scent of the cream. It's very adorable. But, yeah. Then, Riku and Rion show up, who apparently did not see him. And, yeah. Rion and him asked to escort her and, you know, keep her safe. Because, obviously, Zero and Rion's father, Kirinamru, they're both gonna be coming after her, so. And they want to help her out. So she agrees. And Towa takes Rion on her bike. Riku tries to stay behind because, of course, Kiramatu can see and hear everything he does. So he tries to kind of fall back a little bit. But then he realizes, you know, maybe I don't have to. He senses something coming. So yeah. And then Rion and Towa get to talking. And Rion says how amazing Towa is. You know, singing her praises, even though Towa's like, I'm not really that cool, and I never know when to back off and run away when I need to. You know. But Rion's like, Nonsense! You're amazing and you're a source of light for me and Riku, you know? And she just finds her very cool. So, I mean, that's sweet. But Towa does need to learn the lesson of you need to know when to run away and when to stand and fight. Which is something she hasn't learned quite yet. She is trying though, so I'll give her props on that. So, yeah. Then, however, Kiramatu does show up, and Riku warns her right before he does that they have a guest. And he shows up, and he talks to Rion, and says how it's been a long time since he's seen her. And of course Rion remarks, "No, it hasn't. You would see me every day in your dreams, or in our dreams, father." And yeah, scolds him, talks about how her body is made of nothing but grave soil and bone. But yeah, and that she wants to stop him, and that she believes that the new world actually lies with Towa, not him. Because he's talking about the windmill and all that. And yeah, Towa is forced to go in the offensive. But right before she's about to clash with Kirinamru, she sees Akaru again, playing with her bike. It's very cute, and she actually looks over and smiles at him. But Kirinamru, of course, cannot see him. And is like, "Wait a minute, what do you see? Is that Akaru?" So he does know that must be what she's seeing. He just can't see him himself, so. And he explains then why he can't, and no one else could. Only people from their clan's bloodline have the ability to see him for some reason. So that must mean only Towa, Setsuna, and Moroha, and probably Inuyasha and Sesshomaru, and Toga himself have the ability to see him. So yeah. And he does admit that he does need him for the Windmill of Time thing and to bring about the new age. So yeah. And of course, Rion's against it and they all want to stop him. And yeah. And Towa does try to stand and fight. But Kiramatu ends up running away. And in the process, he does send some energy spikes out. And it actually gets Riku in the eyes when he tries to shield Towa. So, yeah. And after Kiramatu disappears, he says, "Oh, my eyes are injured." But he actually smiles. And of course he will explain why later. But yeah. As they try to walk away, Towa feels really bad because once again, she didn't run away when she should have. She didn't back off when she should have. And now Riku got hurt. So, yeah. But that's when he explains, this is actually a good thing because now he can't see what I see. So, in his mind, being blinded is a good thing. And I guess it kind of is in that regard, but I still kind of feel bad for him, I guess. So yeah. And they just go on their way. So, that's where the episode ends, pretty much. We still have some plot threads that haven't been completed yet, but yeah, overall, good episode. I did enjoy it. Again, it jumped around a lot, which is why I went through the story the way I did, just character by character. I found that a little bit easier. So yeah, hopefully the next episode's pacing isn't quite as chaotic. But yeah, I think it's gonna be focusing on Setsuna's story, her part of the journey for now. It seems to be. So yeah. And that should be good. That should be quite good. We'll see what happens in that village and with the Demon Slayers. Hopefully it goes well for all of them. And Setsuna learns a lesson. A good lesson. So yeah. I look forward to it. But I think that will do it for this review. Once again, good episode. I enjoyed it. Looking forward to the next. If you did enjoy this video, leave a like, share it around if you want. If you want to follow me on Twitter or support the channel on Patreon, both links will be in the description below. I would be forever grateful if you did. But yeah, until episode 9, which is titled Bayonaka the Visitor, I will see you guys next time.